In today's video, we are going to talk about 5 non-obvious signs that someone is wealthy. Hi everyone, my name is Helen. Welcome to my channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about 5 non-obvious signs that someone is wealthy. The first non-obvious sign that someone is wealthy is actually their clothing. Now, when you're talking about someone who is wealthy, they don't generally buy brand names unless that brand name item is very high quality. Their focus is more on quality than brand. That means that when you're looking at someone who is wealthy, you may notice that their clothes, their shoes, a bag perhaps, is very high quality. It's very well made. It's got nice quality materials, but it might not be a brand that you've ever seen. That's because when you are looking at someone who is wealthy, they value their money and they value their time, and frankly, you don't want to be replacing your clothes all the time. One of the things you may notice is that they have high quality, but they do not necessarily wear brand name. So you will probably see that when you start to notice someone who is wealthy. The second non-obvious sign that someone is wealthy is that they will actually spend money to save their time rather than spending their time to save a little bit of money. What does this mean? Well, when you're working with someone who's wealthy, or you're looking at someone's habits when they are wealthy, they will actually spend a little bit more at the gas station to go to one that's near them, or maybe they'll go to the nearest grocery store rather than one that's far away that has special deals or lower prices. The point is to save their time, not their money. They're focused more on, okay, these small savings, they're not really going to help me long term if I'm wasting too much time to get them done. So they won't drive 30 minutes out to another town to save some money on gas when that's a full hour of their day that they could put into something constructive. So that's one of the signs you may notice when you are talking to someone who is wealthy, is that they want to save their time more so than their money, especially when it comes to small things. Another sign that someone is wealthy that isn't particularly obvious is the way that they do not look at price tags when they are at restaurants or other places. You may notice that when you're working with someone who is wealthy, or you go out with someone who is wealthy, they don't care what the price of them is on the menu. They will simply ask, what is the best thing in the restaurant, for example, or what is the best thing that you have in this store? And they'll just go with whatever is recommended to them without ever even looking at the menu. Or if they're familiar with the restaurant, they may just order something that they like at that restaurant. Now, wealthy people don't really need to look at the price tag because they know they have the money to pay for it. So they just get whatever they are ready to buy or whatever they want without really thinking too much about the price. This is particularly true in restaurants where prices are obviously very different. It may be true in other types of stores if you're talking about stores where they're catered to, where it's a service industry store. So one of the things you may notice when you are out with someone who is wealthy is that they don't really look at the price. They really just get what they want. The fourth non-obvious sign that someone is wealthy is actually that they don't complain. You'll notice that generally speaking, a wealthy person is never complaining about their financial situation. They don't complain about money. They don't ever really even talk about money in a negative way. They instead talk about different subjects, whatever is interesting them, and they might listen to your money problems, but they don't talk about their own money problems. That's because when you are wealthy, you don't really have the same problems. So you're not going to be complaining about, oh, I'm broke this month, because you're not going to be broke. They don't have those complaints because they simply do not have that experience or that situation. You'll notice that when you're talking to them, even if money comes up, they don't complain that they have a problem. They will just talk about money in a matter-of-fact way, or they might not talk about money at all. It's really just dependent on the individual and also the way that the subject comes up in conversation. But they will never bring up, oh, I'm broke this month, or I have some problem with money this month, because it just simply doesn't happen in their life. Their experience is not that they're broke, but rather that they have an abundance of money. So they don't really discuss that. And it's not a sign you might notice if you aren't paying attention. But if you really start to pay attention to the way people talk about money, you'll notice that some people, they simply don't complain about it. And those are usually people who don't have any money problems, so they aren't complaining. The fifth non-obvious sign that someone is wealthy is that they do not work because they have to, they work because they want to. When you have the money to be retired, or you have the money to live very comfortably for the rest of your life, when you go to work, you have a very different attitude toward your work. You're not working there because, oh, I need the money to pay my bills. You're working there because you know that it's something that you want to do. Perhaps you're very passionate about the subject, or maybe you want to go to work because you need something to do and you're bored. Or maybe you're going to work just because you want to be involved in something and you want to have a purpose with something. Wealthy people are generally working because they want to rather than they have to, and they tend to be very relaxed at work as a result. So when you're talking to someone who you know is wealthy, you may notice that the way that they approach work is very different because they do not need the money. If you liked today's video, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.